Right, so congratulations. What does it mean to receive this acknowledgement?
It was a massive surprise and an amazing honour. I did seriously consider whether to accept it, in that I just felt there were so many other worthy people. But in the end, I thought it was a wonderful recognition of the work of the whole MSD team, and also other regional public servants who have contributed so much and worked so hard, particularly during the COVID times and the cyclone. And actually all the community organisations that we work with and that have worked very much together, you know, collectively and collaboratively to help our community. So yeah, an honour, a privilege, and a representation of the work of many others.
And as you mentioned, it's been a difficult couple of years with COVID and then more recently Cyclone Gabriel. How has that time been for you?
It was, it's been like full-time crisis management for the last 3 years, really. It's hard to remember what a normal day is like. It has been terrifying, it's been exhilarating, challenging, amazing sense of satisfaction when things come together, and incredible emotional highs and lows, really, throughout the past 3 years, particularly last year. More lows than highs, unfortunately, but when those highs did occur, when things worked, when you saw the huge amount of work done by our whole community, you just had to feel really heartened and proud.
And you've really been sort of the piece in the middle, connecting central government with the communities.
Yes, on behalf of others. So there's, you know, nobody is an island in this, and I've had that position, and so have worked as hard as I can with those around me and in other positions, in other lead positions, to make sure that the people in Wellington hear what it's like on the ground, hear what's happening on the ground. You can see things on TV, but it's not until you're standing in amongst it or dealing with the whānau that have been so deeply impacted that you get the full force of the impacts, particularly of the cyclone. So, there were very emotional times on Teams meetings and that sort of thing, conveying the story of what was going on here. And yes, I took a role in that, and others I'm sure did with their own agencies. I was communicating in through the Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet, and through the leadership of the Regional Public Service. But yeah, it wasn't part of the job. It was important to do it, and it was very well received by people at the other end of the Teams meeting. I felt heard. There was often high emotion on those calls as well.
And what are you most proud of over your career?
That's an interesting question. I'm really proud of the relationships that I've formed throughout my whole career. So I wasn't always in this position. It's only been in the last 3 years, actually. I've come up through the ranks, and many of the people that I've worked with as part of that journey are still close colleagues of mine, and that gives me some opportunities to be able to really work alongside other organisations. I'm lucky that we have an amazing leadership in a kind of a governance structure across the East Coast region in both Tairāwhiti and here in Hawke's Bay. So the relationships with those leaders has been very important too, and I'm proud that we have maintained that through all the challenges that we've faced. Those relationships have stayed in place. So I'm proud of that, and I'm also proud of the teams that I've worked with, the MSD team, both the regional team and our national team, our colleagues around the country. but also the regional public service team here in the East Coast, an amazing group of people and leaders doing the very best that they can to support communities. And then the third part of that strand is our community leaders, iwi, hapu groups, social service providers, employers, all those other people that make our communities so rich. And over the course of my career, I've established some great relationships there. Not always plain sailing, but that's the thing about relationships. They're not always plain sailing. But I feel as if there aren't too many people that I can just not get on the phone and give a call and have a good conversation. So I'm proud of that.
Great. And what do you hope to achieve going forward?
Well, that's a timely question, actually. So I'm stepping down from the Regional Commissioner's position at the end of next month. I am going to stay part of the Ministry of Social Development and do pick up project work in the region or perhaps nationally. I'm not, I'll have to wait and see what happens there. And I'm very comfortable with that decision. I think that one of the things that I've really come to recognise is the importance of succession planning and making sure that there are people coming through. And I think it's time for someone else to take the reins from this position for me. And I have a lot of skills and attributes and relationships in particular that I think I'll be able to really bring to the forefront by doing particular projects. I'm hopeful that they may be employment-focused projects, which is a particular passion of mine. But actually any project that helps our region, with the things that are priorities for us: education, employment, training, housing, all those things that are so important to us and that where we still have some challenges. So yeah, that's the next step for me.
And an exciting next step. Was it a difficult decision for you to choose to step down?
No, it's been a plan since I took on this role. And that, I'm of an age where it's timely to do that. And, I have questioned it, the closer it's got, I've questioned it because I love the job. But it also comes with a weight of responsibility. And so I'm very comfortable with my decision.
Tell me a bit about your background. Are you from Hawke's Bay?
No, I'm not from Hawke's Bay, but I have been here for coming close to 30 years, I think. And so I do call it home. I actually whakapapa to Wharetoa, Ngāti to Wharetoa. So that is where my roots are. But I did have a lifetime really of moving around the country, initially with my parents and then with my husband. We would, follow the job, all of us, and it brought us here almost 30 years ago, and we were just taken with the place and very happy to be here. It is close enough to everything else that you can still keep in connection with the rest of your history. But yeah, I'd say this is home now. I don't think you're ever a true Hawke's Bay person unless you were born and bred here, and that isn't my past, but I'm happy with where I am at the moment.
And how did you get into this public service space?
Yes. So after a year and a half of university when I was young, I decided that wasn't for me. I wanted to make some money and travel or do something else. So I went to work for the public service back then, so over 40 years ago, initially in housing and then into the employment service. I did take a bit of a break for about 6 months, once upon a time in my career, which is, and restarted in about 1995. So I have been a public servant all my life. That serving the public is what I'm passionate about. I've grown up over the time. I'm not sure if I was quite so enthusiastic back in my youth, but I see the good that can be done. I think that by keeping whānau at the centre of everything that we do, which is actually the purpose and the values within the Ministry of Social Development, that we can really work alongside community groups and other local leaders to make a difference for our communities. And as I've said, that is evident every day. So there's always that opportunity to feel as if you've really achieved something and to see some successes. Equally, there is that responsibility of when things are not going right, and you certainly see that as well, and working hard to try and make sure that we can contribute as much as we can to turning that around. Not always possible and not always easy, but it's that sense of responsibility and service that inspires me. So yeah, I've done this my whole life and will continue for a little while longer.
Has anything stuck with you during this time?
During the more recent times, lots of things that probably just reinforced my learning. So one of the things is that government cannot work in isolation from our communities, from iwi and hapu, from our councils, from our community providers, because they are closer to whānau that have the need than we are. And they're able to give us the information, the intelligence about what is actually required on the ground, that they've got that real experience and information flow. So the absolute importance of working hand in hand alongside community is, that's probably my biggest learning of my life as a public servant. The second thing, which has probably come about since COVID and Cyclone Gabriel, is the incredible importance of practicing for these scenarios and being as slick as you possibly can be. And I think it's easy, things happen, small events happen, and you deal with them and move on. Do we always take the full learnings of every situation and make ourselves instill that into our process for the next challenge? Hopefully now we do. We have to keep practicing. It is going to come again. It may not, and it may not come here, but nobody ever dreamt it was going to be as bad as it was on the 14th of February. Nobody ever planned for that. So we have to plan for the absolute worst, and we have the experience here along the East Coast to do that, and be practiced, rehearsed, ready to go for the next time.
And going back to the King's birthday honour, have you told anyone?
I actually told my mother. They did say don't tell anyone, but I didn't think I trust my mum, which doesn't mean to say I didn't trust other people. I told Mum because she helped me make the decision to accept it. It's not me, it's everybody around me. So, but Mum helped me make that decision. So yes, I told her. And then there were a couple of people at work that knew, because they get my emails and those sorts of things. And then when the letter arrived, I told my husband, who actually got the mail that day and saw the big embossed envelope. So I told him then, yes.
And what was the reaction from your mum and also your husband?
From tears from my mother, and pride, and a sensible conversation about what it all means. You can always rely on your mum to keep you on the right path. So yes, so that I got that from Mum, and then a few weeks later, when Rex, my husband, heard, I think a little bit of shock that I hadn't told him immediately, and shock, I suppose. We've always been a working couple who do our work and do the best that we can, but never ever thought that an honour like this would become part of our narrative. So yeah, and pride, yes.
And how will you celebrate on Monday?
So I'm heading up to Mount Maunganui to see my son and my mokopuna this weekend that live up there. So I am planning on breaking the rules again and telling them on Sunday. My daughter and her partner and my 2 little boys live down here, and so we're going to get together on Monday for a bit of a family celebration. I haven't thought beyond that, to be honest. There's a lot going on. You know, we're still as busy as ever, and so I haven't thought beyond that.
Great. And yeah, anything else you want to add?
Oh, just no. I mean, as I said, I'm grateful and proud for the honour, but I do, and I firmly believe that it needs to be a recognition of everyone, of the public service, both MSD and our other agencies and our amazing communities that work so hard for the people of our communities. And it's not always seen, you know, because you can never do everything that's required. All you can do is your very, very best. And if you come to work and do your very, very best every day, that's all we expect of our people. That's what I expect of myself. And so I just think it's recognising how lucky I am to be in this community, working with the people that I work with.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.